Mother, don't worry. They're going to take a few tests. They're going to find out nothing is wrong with you, and they're going to send you home. And I'm going to be right here to hold your hand.
It's probably an intern, ready to turn me into some sort of guinea pig.
Will you just relax? The sooner they get this over with, the sooner you'll be able to leave.
Geraldine.
Hello, Nadine. I hope you're feeling all right. Raven?
You have a lot of nerve showing up here.
I have a very dear friend who's in the hospital. I thought it only proper to pay her a visit.
Will you please leave? My mother is sick, and your presence here disturbs her a great deal. Can't you get it through your head? She does not want to talk to you.
Like it or not, she's going to. Right now.
Mother, will you please tell her to leave? She'll listen to you.
Nadine, I'm asking you to listen to me. Surely I don't have to remind you that I've been your friend for more than 30 years. Certainly that gives me some rights.
Geraldine, please. I'm a very ill woman. That's why I'm in this place.
Right. You know, we can call someone and have you escorted right out of this hospital. That would be very embarrassing for you.
Oh, indeed it would. And it would be interesting to see you find someone willing to try. Now, Nadine, let us discuss quietly the reasons why you are unwilling even to talk to an old friend.
Geraldine, I don't want to discuss it. At least not now.
I don't want to tax your strength, my dear. But since we're all three here together, it seems to me a very good time to discuss it. I think I know what's been happening. Raven has been telling you tales about me, hasn't she? All right, Raven. Now you can repeat your stories in front of me.
My mother absolutely nothing but the truth, and you can deny it all you want, but she knows I'm not lying.
About what exactly?
I've told her about your contempt for her, about your nasty insinuations about her husband, and about the cheap gossip you've been spreading about her marriage.
Raven, please don't do this.
So that's it. That is the ridiculous accusation you've been making.
You've made those accusations, and you can't deny it.
Nadine, please listen to me. I have never peddled cheap gossip about you and Ansel. I have never so much as mentioned Ansel to anyone except to your daughter, and then only because obviously she was prying, deliberately trying to put words in my mouth.
Why would she do that?
I think I know exactly why. Would you like to tell her that, Raven?
Mother, are you going to lie there and let her make these accusations against me?
Raven, she is my friend. It's true. We've been friends too long.
If that's the way you feel about it, then I'm leaving.
Raven, please.
Now, Nadine, please listen to what I have to say. I did not come here to incite a riot between you and Raven. I came here because I care about you. Because I've been deeply hurt about this sudden friction between us. Please believe me when I tell you that I have never felt the slightest malice toward you.
Oh. What does it matter, Geraldine? Why should I worry about a lot of gossip here in Monticello? 4,000 miles away when there's been so much of it in London. Even among the servants in my own house.
I don't understand how Raven managed to convince you that I said those things.
She played a tape for me.
She did what?
She had a tape recorder with her the day she visited you. She said she did it because she wanted to prove to me that you'd been saying unpleasant things about me.
A tape recorder? Nadine, I would dearly love to hear that tape because I can bet anything that tape was very carefully edited.
Let's forget the whole thing happened.
But you have to know why it happened. Frankly, it's because she's afraid of me. Afraid of what I might tell you about her behavior.
There's very little anyone could tell me about Raven's behavior. If you had seen her in London, you... Oh, never mind. I doubt very much that she's afraid of anything that you might say about her. Especially since everything that I know about her is already so bad, Geraldine.
That may be. You wrote to me that you had disinherited Raven.
I haven't been able to touch her allowance. I can't really. That's a trust fund set up by her father. And I couldn't possibly make her my heir. After what she's done.
Perhaps she felt she could change your mind by being nice to you.
I told her nothing would change my mind. Nothing in the world. If she's determined to be virtuous, virtue will have its own reward.
But if she knew that, if she were not afraid of what I might tell you, then why did she go to such lengths to keep us apart?
Well, hello. Looks like a class reunion.
Hello, Jeremy. I hope you're taking good care of my friend here.
I intend to take the very best care of her because she's my friend, too. Everything comfortable so far,
Yes. Comfortable is the word for it.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to do a little doctoring for about 10 minutes. So if you could excuse us, Geraldine.
Of course. I'll just wait outside.
Gee, I hope you're not surprised I'm asking you for a raise, Mr. Dorn. I mean, I know you're giving me a couple of extra bucks a week than when I first started, but I started pretty low.
Okay, I don't want you to think that I don't appreciate what you've been doing here. I'm sure you know that you've become quite an attraction at the Unicorn.
Well, I'm glad you appreciate that, Mr. Dorn.
But this is still a disco, Kelly. It's not a supper club. You can't expect me to pay a lot of extra money for an added attraction.
But I'm giving 2 performances a night, and sometimes 3.
And then there's a question of profitability. In case you didn't know it, this club, unfortunately, is still operating in the red.
Oh, well, I thought business had picked up quite a bit.
More customers don't always mean more profit, Kelly. Well, perhaps in a couple of months.
Oh, well, that's okay, Mr. Dorn. I won't argue with you. But if you can't afford to pay me more money right now, why don't you just reduce my duties?
What does that mean?
Well, I was hired to run the light and sound system, and that's what I'm still doing, besides giving the puppet shows. So, why don't I just drop one or the other? It's your choice.
Kelly, I'm not sure you realize the opportunity you're getting. You know, puppeteers don't have that many outlets for their talents. And between you and me, not everybody appreciates your little friends.
Oh, well, that's true. You did give me my first break, and I really appreciate it. Maybe that'll get me my second break. Thank you, Mr. Dorn.
Kelly, 1 minute. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you?
No, sir. Just looking.
I see. Well, would you look a little bit less hard if I added, say, $30 to your weekly paycheck?
Well, I'd stop looking completely if you made it 50.
All right. I think that can be arranged.
Thanks very much, Mr. Dorn. I really appreciate it. In fact, I might even be able to afford my own apartment.
I didn't hear you knock.
I have to talk to you. Could you get rid of the boy?
The boy was on his way out, ma'am.
Don't you dare call me ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Calm down. Those flames in your eyes are against the fire laws.
Geraldine is with Mother.
What?
Yes, Geraldine is with Mother. And God only knows what she's gonna tell her.
I do want to discuss this further with you, Cliff, but Nancy's going to be here any minute. We're going to the hospital together.
But how could this guy think he was someone else?
Well, apparently his amnesia was so total that the people he lived with were able to imprint a new identity on him. Not a new personality, but a new name and a new background.
It shows some background. This Kirk Michaels was a crook, wasn't he?
From what I understand, he was an unhappy young man who couldn't wait for the better things in life or even work for them, so he just decided to grab them.
But suppose that he was just bitter. I mean, suppose he did work for these things and he waited for them, and all of a sudden some miracle happened that came along and snatched them away from him.
Cliff, all you're doing is justifying criminal behavior.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Nancy.
Come in,
Hello
darling.
there. Hi. How are you, Cliff?
Oh, fine.
Uh-huh. You look a little distracted. What, have you been working too hard?
Oh, no, no. Mike and I were just... I was just scratching my head about the things that Mike told me this morning, about Draper popping out of the grave.
Ah, vivid description. Not quite accurate.
I think it fits very well in this case. I mean, for months we thought this guy was dead, and all of a sudden he's alive and well.
He is alive and well, thank God. His memory is completely restored.
Yes, it's an incredible story, and I intend to tell it. I talked to Dad about an article I want to do.
It is a terrific story, but we don't know how it ends yet.
Well, it's a happy ending, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, you could be happy about it, Cliff. My goodness, I remember how miserable you were because you were the prosecuting attorney who sent him to prison.
Yeah, not half as miserable as I was when I found out about that train crash. And that I was an innocent man on board that train.
So, in light of what's happened, I should think that you would feel relieved.
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is great that Draper's okay. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, you don't know how awkward it was for me. I mean, I was responsible for his going to prison, and then there I am taking his place, emptying out his office.
Oh, I understand. Now you're wondering how you're going to feel emptying out your own office?
Well, Mike, I would like to talk to you about that. I mean, I understand Draper was here first, and I'm just the guy that took his place, but I think that I've done a very good job while I've been here.
I really don't think you have to talk about that now.
I know. It's terrible of me being so selfish and talking about this at this moment, but believe me, that wasn't my first thought when Mike told me the news. Honest. My first thought was about Draper. I mean, wow, this guy's alive. And then I thought about April. She must be in a state of shock. Then I thought about Cliff. He's out of a job.
Cliff, I really don't think this is the appropriate time to even think about such things. I promise you, we'll work out something that's going to satisfy everyone.
Honey, can't this be a three-man office?
Well, for the time being, I think we should just shelve the subject. I'm sure that something will work out for everyone.
Yeah, probably. You know, I wonder if something's going to work out for Logan.
Logan?
Yeah, sure. Just imagine how he feels. I mean, what were his first thoughts when he heard this news? I mean, he falls in love with a widow, and all of a sudden her husband appears? Now, there is a story. You ought to print that. That would really sell newspapers. Have a good lunch.
No, of course I didn't go to the hospital. I've been waiting for you. But I talked to him. You know, he sounds exactly the same. A little weak. But Miles, it's so strange. I mean, I never expected to hear that voice again. Oh, she's in seventh heaven, but she's very, very shocked. I mean, she can't believe it. It's happened. Neither can I. Oh, well, that would be great. Then we could go to the hospital together. Okay, well, that's fine too. Just call me as soon as you've got it all figured out, okay? Okay, of course. Bye-bye. Miles is going to try to get out of his meeting early.
Oh, that's terrific. If he's anything like you, he's very anxious to see his brother-in-law.
Isn't this the most fantastic thing you have ever heard?
Of course it is. Hey, you must be getting used to people popping up unexpectedly in your life these days.
Oh, you mean yourself. Well, as unexpected as you and Draper are, you're very, very welcome.
I'm glad you feel that way.
Ah, and I mean it, too. I'm very glad to have a sister, and I'm very, very glad to have a brother-in-law. Oh, wait till you meet him. You're going to love him. Everybody loves him. Especially April. Can you imagine what she must be feeling right now?
I imagine she has the happiest family in the world right now. It's kind of hard to picture all that happiness.
Especially when you haven't known very much, huh?
Yeah. No, I don't mean that. I have just got to stop all this self-pity stuff. A very important man told me that.
Oh, who?
Your husband.
When did he say this?
The other night, when you were down at the studio doing the news. I made him some hot chocolate, and we sat in this living room, I guess about until midnight, just talking. He's very interesting to listen to, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, he is. Miles doesn't say as much as some people, but what he has to say is worth hearing.
How did you say you met him?
In a hospital. That's where you meet a lot of doctors.
Was he your doctor?
Mm-mm. No, not exactly. My doctor was an obstetrician. Miles was the chief of staff at the hospital.
Oh, you mean you were having Adam at the time?
Yeah. I was in the hospital for a couple of months before Adam was born. It was a difficult pregnancy.
Oh, really?
Yes. But, as you saw by that little boy we just dropped off at nursery school, everything turned out just fine.
Yes, and you got yourself a terrific husband.
I'm very glad you appreciate him.
I do appreciate him. I just wonder if he appreciates me.
That's a very strange thing to say.
Well, you know what I mean. You're my sister, flesh and blood and all that stuff. So you probably find it a lot easier to like me than he... Oh, forget it. It's dumb.
Jody, I'm sure Miles likes you.
Did he ever tell you that?
Oh, yes, he did, as a matter of fact, more than once. He likes you very much.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. You want me to get that?
I will. Hold on. Coming. Hello.
Nicole, it's Dr. Stewart.
Oh, Dr. Stewart, hello. This is a surprise. Have I forgotten an appointment or something?
No. It's just that I got back from the hospital a few minutes ago and found that blood test of yours back from the laboratory. Now, there's nothing to worry about because it's probably some sort of lab error.
An error? What kind of error?
Yeah, just something peculiar about the cell count. Nothing that would indicate anything serious, even if it's correct. But just the same, I'd like to double-check these results.
Oh, well, with me or with the lab?
With you, I'm afraid, which means another little bloodletting. I hope you won't mind coming in just to give me another sample, would you?
No, I could come in tomorrow if that's all right.
Oh, that's fine. Say in the morning?
Oh, okay, sure.
Good.
I'll see you then. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Nadine, how I would love to hear that tape recording that Raven made. But I can guarantee you, it doesn't even come close to what actually was said in my living room that day.
I wouldn't put anything past her.
She was trying to keep me from telling you about her and Elliot Dorn. But above all, about her treatment of Jamie.
But she's treating Jamie beautifully. He seems to be perfectly healthy and happy.
Did Raven tell you that she literally stole that baby from Logan?
No, she didn't.
That's precisely what happened. Jamie was sick one day, had a terrible fever, and had to be taken to the hospital. Unfortunately, Raven got to the hospital before Logan did on the morning the baby was released.
That wasn't exactly stealing him, was it?
It was nothing less. You see, she thought that having possession of Jamie would help her custody case. And let me assure you of another thing. The only reason that Jamie is receiving such good treatment now is because you're here.
I can't believe that Raven would mistreat her boy.
Nadine, it is very difficult for me to say this. Raven doesn't want her son.
I can't believe that. Then why would she go through the trouble of stealing him and go through this awful custody battle?
I don't know. Frankly, it baffles me, and Logan, too. Personally, I think it's just spite, pure malice. She wants to punish Logan for the breakup of their marriage. And believe you me, it is the best possible way to do it. Because he loved that little boy to distraction.
It makes no sense.
Nadine, she tried to give the baby away. If you don't believe me, then call your stepson, Draper Scott, and his wife. They will tell you that one night, Raven dropped the baby off at their home. She left him there and then flew to London. Left him with a letter giving them all rights to Jamie forever.
This is incredible, Geraldine. She didn't tell me any of this.
That letter no longer exists. Raven destroyed it herself. But now, thank heavens, there are two witnesses who can tell the court and you the truth. that Raven abandoned her own baby. Call them. Find out the truth for yourself. I'm sorry. I didn't mean this to turn into an attack on Raven. I simply wanted to know if I still had a friend.
Yes, Geraldine. You never lost me.
I'll let you rest now, but I'll look in on you whenever you're permitted. You can't escape me, you know.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you. Why? Why? Operator, I'd like to place a call to London, England. I don't have the number handy, but it's a firm of solicitors on Bond Street. Harry Peabody and Barclay. Yes. I'd like to speak person to Jonathan Peabody. Yes, thank you. As soon as you can. Is it possible? Could Raven know that Jamie inherits everything? Could she know?
Terrace, furniture, kitchen appliances, wife, home.
Home. What a beautiful word. April, I can't believe you... We live here.
Well, do you think you can get used to it?
I hope so. But then again, I guess all this goes with your new status as rich lady, huh?
Draper, Margot left her money to the Scotts, not just to me. I hope you can get used to that, too.
I guess it'll just take me a little time.
Do you mind living here? I just really didn't think you'd want to go back to the house in Oakdale.
I was living in Oakdale.
Draper, that is a fact that I am very well aware of, and precisely the reason why I cannot go back to Oakdale. You really got to understand that it's very difficult for me to accept the fact that you were living there in our house as somebody else with another wife.
No. Emily was never my wife.
She thought she was. She wanted to be. I mean, isn't that what's important? It's more important than the license or signatures.
April, there is only one woman in my life. And you're the only woman I'll ever love.
You're wrong. There are two women. And I want you to stay right here. I don't want you to move, okay? Be right back.
Look at her. April, she's all grown up.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Maybe about 6 months older than she was the last time you saw her, huh? She doesn't talk too much, but now I can think of a word she'll really enjoy learning. Daddy. Here. No. Okay. It's okay. That's your daddy. It's
she looks just like you.
She used to be the spitting image of you. Doesn't matter who she looks like. How do you think we did, huh?
Oh, I think she's absolutely perfect.
Come to me. Oh, I better take her. You know, everybody tells me that, but it's nice to get a very unbiased opinion once in a while. I think we better bring her inside.
Okay. You know, I know that babies get bigger and they change, but look.
Oh, and they get changed, too. I never realized how much these little human beings, how much time and how much they demanded. Oh, it seems like every time you turn around, they want something else. I've been very grateful for Molly's help.
Molly. That's right. She works here now, doesn't she?
Draper, does that bother you? I mean, does it remind you too much of what's happened to you recently? Draper, keep in mind that Molly is very much alone right now, especially after what's happened to Emily.
Yeah.
You know what happened to her.
Yeah. She had some sort of breakdown, but I thought that you and I would go over and find out more about that together.
I'd like that. I think we should both do as much for Emily as we can.
What about Molly? What are you going to do about her?
Well, I've asked Molly to stay. Draper, she was all packed up and ready to go. She didn't think I'd want her here after everything that's happened, but I told her I don't blame her. That it's not her fault any more than it is Emily's or her father's.
Is she good with Julia?
She's wonderful with Julia. She loves Julia a lot, and Julia likes her. I'll tell you, very selfishly speaking, I don't think we could get a better nursemaid for Julia or a better housekeeper for us.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but I did know you were home, and I wanted to say how happy I am that you're up and about, Mr. Scott.
I imagine it's going to be difficult for you to call me Mr. Scott after thinking of me as Kirk.
Yes, it is difficult to adjust to all the new things.
Molly, we were just talking about you.
Were you?
Yes, I was telling Draper that you've agreed to stay. And I think Draper's as happy about it as I am.
Are you very sure, Mr. Scott? I really don't want to make your homecoming difficult.
April said that having you here will make things a great deal easier for us.
Yes, well, I do want to stay. I feel so very close to both of you. Of course. And I don't want to leave Monticello, not as long as Emily is still here.
Well, April and I talked it over, and we'll do as much as we can for Emily. But hopefully this will only be a temporary thing.
Oh, no, Mr. Scott, I don't think what's happened to Emily is going to go away just like a bad cold. She needs a great deal of help for a long time, and since she has no family...
Molly, Emily may not have any family, but she does have friends, and we are going to do all we can for Emily.
Well, hello. I'm surprised you're still here. I thought you'd be at the studio.
I had a late start. I was visiting with Nadine at the hospital.
Again? Oh, you two really have reconciled, haven't you?
Yes, thank heavens.
You didn't tell me how you did it.
Well, the truth is, I had to force that reconciliation. And I did it, practically, over Raven's dead body.
Raven was there?
Oh, yes.
Must have been quite a confrontation. How'd she react?
Guilty. That is my verdict. There wasn't any question but what she had everything to do with Nadine's sudden aversion to me. And that she convinced Nadine that I was an irrepressible gossip.
Why do you think she did that? Not just native nastiness, was it?
Well, that accounts for much of her behavior, doesn't it?
There's usually more to her actions than that. Her motives tend to be ulterior.
Oh, yeah. There's certainly some truth in that. The thing is, Nadine and I couldn't figure out just exactly what she had in mind. I think she wanted to get back in Nadine's good graces in order to reinstate herself in Nadine's will. But if that was her hope, she's wrong.
Well, I'm glad you did what you did. Be a shame for Nadine to go back to London with a broken friendship. I assume she is going back to London.
Yes, as soon as she finds out what's wrong with her.
Well, I hate to run off, but I just dropped by here to let leave that, so...
You're going out this evening?
Yeah, April and Draper invited me over for a while.
I see.
I told them it's their first night home together. They ought to spend it by themselves, but Draper practically insisted, so...
And you're not too keen on it, eh?
Little uncomfortable. I guess I'll get over that, though.
Logan, I assume that Draper is unaware of how you came to feel about his wife in his absence.
Doesn't know anything about it. No reason why he should. Hope he never does. No sense in losing two friends, is there?
You're quite right.
Good night. I'll see you later.
All I want to know is when I can leave.
Oh, I think you can break out of here in the morning.
This evening would even be better.
I don't think another night in that bed will be a hardship, will it?
No, you're right. I'd much rather spend the evening here than at Raven's. Hello? Oh, yes, operator, thank you. It's London.
Well, I'll leave you in peace.
Yes, Mr. Peabody. What have you found out? She did. Yes. Yes. I should have known. And what have you done about the young man? It serves him right. And now I must find a suitable punishment for my daughter.
Mrs. Swift, I can't stay. Mrs. Wong, please, just for a couple of hours. I know you've been here all day, but Jamie isn't really that difficult to take care of.
I teach a class at the Washington School for New Mothers. My class begins promptly at 8.
Please, will you just do this one thing for me? I mean, what do I pay you for?
To take care of your son, I thought. Not to be a babysitter.
Well, if you ask me, this job does not entail much more than that.
Well, in that case, perhaps you'd be better off hiring a sitter.
Sure be a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yes, and it might give you the incentive to spend more time with your child.
I spend all the time with Jamie that he needs.
Then you must think he doesn't need a mother at all.
How dare you speak to me like that? You are my employee.
No, Mrs. Swift. As of this moment, I am your ex-employee. You have my address. You can send my last paycheck there. Good night.
You can't just walk out on me like this.
You have a very lovely little boy, Mrs. Swift. But I hope you have noticed that he is still very little.
Damn! What am I gonna do? I have to go see her. Okay. Here we go. Mrs. Goodman, you better be home. Come on, come on. She probably went out and bought a telescope and is spying on the neighbors. What am I gonna do? Gloria won't come anymore. Mrs. Cross is probably still drunk. Better call Mother. Find out what Geraldine told her. This ought to be good.
Hello?
Hello, Mother. This is Raven. Look, I don't care what you say. I'm going to come over tonight, whether you want to see me or not.
Oh, I'd like very much to see you, Raven. When will you be here?
Oh. Well, I have to find a babysitter because I told Mrs. Wong that she could have the night off to teach, but I'll find one. I'll be right over, okay?
Oh, that's good. Because I really would like to talk to you, Raven, about a financial matter.
Scott residence? Well, yes, she is. May I tell her who's calling? Thank you. Mrs. Scott, it's for you.
Who is it?
Mrs. Swift. She sounded desperate to talk to you. Mrs. Swift is always desperate about something. Thank you. I'll take it. Hello.
April, I need your help. I need a babysitter. I have to go to the hospital right now.
Is it that important?
Yes, it is. Mother is there. She's all alone. She hates hospitals. Her condition's worse, and I have to go.
Raven, I don't know. I guess I could ask Molly if she wouldn't mind going.
Molly, that's your housekeeper? Yeah. April, would you do that for me?
Raven, I wouldn't do a thing for you, but I might do something to help your mother.
Oh, well, aren't you an angel? Look, why don't you send her right over? I'll only be gone about 4 or 5 hours.
That's an awfully long hospital visit.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. Look, I have to go get ready. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot. Oh, boy. Okay. Yes, Mr. Dorn, please. Elliot, it's Raven. I'm going to be over in a little while. I got to go to the hospital and visit Mother for about an hour, but I'll be there, and I think that I have some terrific news.
Anemia can be caused by a number of heredity factors. Can be the result of exposure to some chemical or perhaps some antibiotic.
Well, I haven't had anything, though.
It might be nutritional, for that matter. You might simply need more vitamin B12.
Do you think that this might have any connection to the fact that I can't seem to have a baby?
I won't even guess at that answer.
Then it still might be possible that I'm not getting pregnant for some psychosomatic reason, huh?
That would be one of the last possibilities we'd consider, especially in such a level-headed young woman.
But I'm not level-headed about some things. If you knew how much I want to have this baby. Started out as a hope and progressed to a need, and I'm rapidly making it an obsession.
Well, relax. When we get all the test results, I'll send you to that baby specialist I told you about. Until then, please, don't worry. Worry doesn't help.
Welcome home. Well, it's very flattering of you two to have me here the first evening you have a chance to be alone together. Sure wasn't necessary, though.
Look, it's our pleasure. I mean,
thank you.
There's nobody else we'd rather have here. I just wanted to take some time to say thank you. I mean, not for what you did for me, but what you did for April.
I mean, Logan, you were one of the first people to think that Draper might still be alive.
No. Mike spotted that discrepancy with the handcuffs. Oh, by the way, April told me what happened during the wreck. It's funny, I always had a suspicion that it was Sam Dwyer that turned you loose.
Sam Dwyer. I'm never going to forget him. A lot of people I'm never going to forget. I hope. I hope I have no more problems with my memory.
Oh, you won't have a memory problem. It was more than a head injury that made you forget all that stuff. It was everything you were up against, everything you had to face.
What I had to face was 15 years without my wife, without my baby, without my best friend.
If I'm going to make some coffee. Yeah, and I bought a cake of this gooey, fattening chocolate. I'm playing maid tonight because I'll be right back.
I mean that, Swifty. Honest, I owe you more than I could ever repay.
Oh, come on, I didn't do a damn thing. It was Deborah and Calvin that got you out of that amusement park mess. They're the ones you should thank.
I mean, thank you for not what you did for me, but for what you did for April.
Well, I did what I could. It wasn't very much. She was pretty broken-hearted. Spent a lot of time grieving for you. It would have done your heart good to see how many people were dewy-eyed at your funeral.
She told me, Logan. She said she couldn't have come through this thing the way she did without your help.
Nonsense. She's helped me get through it. I was all broken up when I thought you were in that coffin. Kept thinking about the $12 you owe me. The $12? Oh, yeah, the amnesia. You don't remember.
All right, look, I know you don't like sentiment, Swifty. So I just let it drop there, but I want you to know that it all adds up to one word. Thanks.
Oh, sure. Anytime.
Hello, Mother. How do you feel?
Oh, I'm fine.
Good. Did you see Dr. Stewart?
Yes, I did. He had good news for me. I'll be leaving the hospital tomorrow morning.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'll come by tomorrow, pick you up in the car, and we can go home.
No, thank you. I've arranged a rental car.
You did?
Yes, I find that I'm going to be in Monticello for at least a week, so I decided to have a car of my own. I've also made a reservation at the Monticello Arms.
It's Geraldine's hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Did she make the reservations for you?
Yes. Yes, she did.
So, you've fallen for her excuses, and now you're friends again? Don't say I didn't warn you. Anyway, you said you had something to discuss with me, something financial?
Oh, yes. I had a very interesting phone conversation this evening with Mr. Peabody, one of my solicitors in London. You know Mr. Peabody, Raven?
No, why should I know Mr. Peabody?
Well, I thought, since you did know Mr. Temple...
Temple? Who's Mr. Temple?
Oh, surely you remember, Raven. A pink-cheeked young man with sandy hair, just a wee bit on the plump side.
I've never met him before. Why should I know him?
Well, that's strange. Since Mr. Temple admitted to Mr. Peabody that you had lunch with him more than once, and that he violated a confidence as a result.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I might have met him at a party sometime,
Raven,
but...
Mr. Temple has been fired. Now, does that make you feel good? It's the price he paid for revealing to you the contents of my will. My new will. The one in which I left my entire fortune to your son.
You left it to Jamie? Mother, that's very kind of you.
Now I know why you were so kind to Jamie. Why you were so concerned about taking him away from his father. And so determined to win the custodies.
Mother, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that is all going to be changed, Raven. Because when I get back to London, I am going to change my will. I'll make sure that you don't get 1 penny of my money, whether Jamie inherits it or not. Now, do you still want custody?
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find. Always on my mind. And frustrated days pass without sight. The edge of night, half dark, half light. Do you think we might wake up someday and be aware of all the games people play? Living circles of unending strife.
I had an interesting phone conversation this evening, Raven, with Mr. Peabody, one of my solicitors from London. Do you know him?
Mr. Peabody? No, why should I know Mr. Peabody?
Well, I just thought that since you did know Mr. Temple.
Temple? No. Who's Mr. Temple?
Oh, surely you remember him, Raven. A pink-cheeked young man with sandy hair. Just a wee bit on the plump side.
No, I'm sorry. I've never heard of him. Why should I?
Oh, that's strange. Since Mr. Temple admitted to Mr. Peabody that you had had lunch with him more than once. And he violated a confidence as a result.
Mother, I don't know what you're talking about. I might have met this man at a party.
Raven, Mr. Temple has been fired. I hope that makes you feel good. It was the price he paid for revealing to you the contents of my will. My new will that left my entire fortune to your son.
You left your money to Jamie. Mother, that's very kind of you.
Yes. And now I know why you were so kind to Jamie. So concerned about taking him away from his father. And so determined to win that custody suit.
Mother, how could you possibly think
Well, I'm
that...
about to change the whole situation, Raven. Because when I get back to London, I'm going to change my will. I'll make sure that you do not get 1 penny of my money, whether Jamie inherits it or not. Now, do you still want custody?
Someone has been lying to you. Obviously, Mr. Peabody.
No, it was not Mr. Peabody, I assure you. And Temple admitted the truth.
All right. So I did have lunch with Mr. Temple. What's wrong with my being curious about my future?
It was Jamie's future you were curious about. You never had the slightest interest in your own son until you learned he was going to be my heir. No. You left him here in Monticello and came to London. You had no intention of even seeing that boy again.
That is a lie, and you've obviously been talking to Logan.
I have never met Logan, but I can tell you sight unseen that he will make a better parent than you could ever be.
So you're going to rob Jamie of his entire inheritance just because you're angry with me?
No. There's still no one I would rather see get my money than Jamie. Huh. Certainly not Ansel. No, Raven. Jamie Swift will inherit everything on the day that he reaches 21 years of age.
21?
And until that time, there'll be no way you or he could touch 1 penny of that money. And by the time he's that age, my dear, I'm sure he'll know only too well what kind of mommy he has.
You are being terribly unfair. I mean, I don't want this money for myself. Of course, I have Daddy's trust fund. I want it for Jamie, for his future, his education.
Oh, Raven. You're still as transparent as glass. I've told you my decision. It's final. Jamie gets nothing until he's old enough to handle money.
Oh, Mother, if you knew what I have been through, how much I have suffered.
Yes, I have a pretty fair idea of what you've been going through to get that little boy in your clutches. Well, you got what you wanted, Raven. But I'm pretty sure you won't want your prize anymore.
But... I better go.
I'll come by your place tomorrow and pick up my things.
Assuming you have your medical reports by then.
Well, Dr. Stewart assures me I will.
Well, let's hope it's nothing trivial.
Swifty, it's like looking at my biography and finding hundreds of blank pages.
Well, it's only for the last 6 months, right? You remember everything before then.
Yeah, I remember the murder, the trial, the conviction, the train.
Yeah. What about Emily Michaels and her father and Molly Sherwood, that whole crowd? Do you remember all?
I remember all of them, especially Emily. Logan, I believed that woman was my wife.
No, Draper, you believe that you were a man named Kirk Michaels who happened to be married to that woman.
Same thing, isn't it? I mean, we lived together as man and wife in the same house in which April and I lived.
It's understandable to me. You wanted to be where you belonged. You wanted to be in your own home. You just weren't exactly sure where that was.
Yeah. Funny, I never thought that this place would be my home.
You've come up in the world. About 32 floors.
Yeah. I suppose it'll all come back to me. What our life was like, Emily's and mine. Hey, look, I know you're sick and tired of hearing me complain about my bad memory, but you can help me, Logan. You can fill in those blank pages for me. What the heck happened during the last 6 months?
Well, I will tell you everything. You got 6 months?
You know what I want to know, more than anything else, about you. About you, Raven, and the baby. Does she really have him?
Oh, you can believe it. She snatched him. Crime Incorporated couldn't have handled the job with more finesse.
There's got to be a legal way you can get him
I'm
back.
trying the only legal way right now. That's what the custody suit's all about. We go to court Monday morning.
But there's no doubt about winning it. I mean, Raven is the worst mother I've ever seen in my life.
You're saying exactly what I hope Cliff Nelson's going to tell the judge.
Nelson?
Yeah.
Nelson's handling the case?
Well, he and Mike are both on the case, but Cliff's going to handle the trial work. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you knew about that. No, Cliff teamed up with Mike once you sort of pulled your disappearing act. I thought Mike had told you.
No, he hadn't. I mean, life goes on, doesn't it? It's just funny, coming back from the dead and seeing how well everyone gets along without you. You know, your law partner, your wife.
Don't say that. Don't even think that. And you have no idea how much April suffered.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and I'm very sorry that it took so long by Berlin.
Let me help.
Draper, you sit down and take it easy.
Right.
Logan, would you
Yeah,
take
let me
that
get it.
coffee? Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, well, have you two been catching up?
More or
There you go.
less.
You want to cut this?
Sure.
Yeah, I guess it would take about 2 or 3 days for you to catch up on everything, huh?
Yeah, Logan and I were talking about the custody trial.
Oh.
Look, you gotta be calling witnesses if you want to. You've got them, got willing ones right here.
Oh, no, you don't. You are in no shape to get on a witness stand.
That's true. All the attorney would have to do is say, where were you on the night of June 25th or any other night for the last 6 months? And there goes my credibility.
I can prove my case without witnesses.
You have a witness, Logan. You have me. Do you remember that letter that Raven gave us? You know, telling us that we could raise Jamie as our own son?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all we need, right? That letter's going to prove she has no interest in the kid.
Letter's gone.
What?
Yeah, I'm afraid Raven got her hands on it, and that was my fault.
Now, that's not so.
Well, I think it was my fault. And in any case, I'm going to get on that stand, and I'm going to tell that judge exactly what Raven intended when she gave us Jamie.
I don't want you to testify. There's just no point in it. Raven will insist that you're lying.
But why would April lie? I mean, how could they establish a prejudice?
Well, friendship, I guess.
Yeah, friendship. Thank you.
Jody, what do you think?
About what?
About my new blouse. Of course, you have no way of knowing that this is a new blouse because you don't know what most of my old blouses look like.
Well, it looks terrific. You always look terrific. Honestly, Nicole, I think you should have been a model. One of those $500 an hour models.
Oh, really? Well, if I'm going to spend hours in the studio, I'd much rather it be a television studio.
Oh, of course, your job is much more exciting. It's just that I can't get over how pretty you are. Hey, do you think that someday I'll be half as pretty as you are since I'm your half-sister?
I think you're gorgeous right now and not half anything. As a matter of fact, I'd really prefer it if you didn't use that phrase anymore.
What phrase?
Half-sister. Sounds like a sideshow. Let's just settle on sister, okay?
It's fine with me. That's how I think of you anyway. I mean, that's how I've always thought of you, as my sister.
Well, good. Because it's a lot of fun to have a sister to talk to and to ask a sister's opinion of what to wear.
My opinion is that blouse is beautiful.
Good. It has to serve a dual purpose. I want to look really good when Miles comes home.
I'm so glad his meeting is finally over. This house has been kind of empty without him, you know?
Yeah, it's always empty when Miles isn't here.
But I have to admit one thing. Our being alone here for a few days, it's given me a chance to know you better.
I really enjoyed it, too.
Now, what was the other purpose of the dual purpose?
Well, as soon as Miles gets here, we're going to go over and we're going to see April and Draper.
Oh, that's going to be quite a reunion.
Yeah. Well, all of Draper's life is going to be a reunion for a while. Would you like to come?
Oh, no, thank you. I think this is one family reunion where I don't belong right now. And besides, I made other plans for this evening.
Oh?
I'm going back to work tonight.
Oh. You sure you have your medical seal of approval?
Mm-hmm. Miles said the last time he examined me that I was doing much better, and that any day I would be ready to go back to my normal routine. And I figured today is as good as any day.
Well, if you're really sure.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, for one thing, I want to start earning money again. Because being a paying boarder without paying isn't fair.
That isn't the reason you're going back, is it?
Oh, no, I want to go back to work. And I also would like to stop by the dance studio tonight. You know, see what's going on. But I promise no heavy dancing.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear you feel you're up to all this strenuous activity. I'm glad one half of this sister act is feeling well.
What do you mean? You're not feeling well?
Oh, nothing serious. Do I look pale to you?
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, your complexion is fair. Your skin is beautiful.
Oh, my complexion is mostly makeup right now. I don't remember ever having to use so much color.
Well, then why are you?
Oh, I looked in the mirror about an hour ago, and I could have sworn I was looking at my own ghost.
Do you think that there's something wrong?
No. Oh, not really. I don't know, I just took a nap, you know, and I woke up and I had a little headache, and I was feeling a little dizzy. But maybe Dr. Stewart's right. I may be fishing for symptoms.
Hey, guess who's here?
Sounds like Miles is home.
Jody, do me a favor.
What?
Don't mention anything to Miles about what I just told you, okay? Promise?
I promise.
Oh, thank you. Hello, welcome. Oh.
Well, I'm sorry I have to leave the minute you get
No,
home.
that's all right, Jody, as long as you're sure you feel up to rejoining the labor force.
Oh, I feel like a whole new person. I really do. I never knew pampering was a cure for anything.
Pampering, huh? There is another word for it, you know.
Yes, I can think of another name for it. Well, I'll see you both later.
Yeah, don't work too hard, and don't dance too hard either, okay?
I won't. Bye-bye.
Bye. Alone at last.
Hey, you know what? You're not going to like this, but I told April that we would go over immediately the minute you got home. And I hate to rush you, but I'm real anxious to see Draper, okay?
No, that's all right. I am, too. If you think doctors are blasé about miracles, you're wrong. This is one miracle I want to see in person.
Oh, I talked to him again just a little while ago. His voice still sounds weak, but then he has been through a terrible ordeal.
Well, you know something? As a matter of fact, your voice sounded a little bit weak this morning when I called you on the phone.
Well, you caught me at a bad time. I just woke up.
You sure that's all it is?
Well, of course it is. Now, come on.
Listen, wait a minute. I'm just as anxious to go there as you are, but I'm also anxious to know that my wife is all right. For one thing, I couldn't get anything out of you about Dr. Stewart. You did go see him again, didn't you?
Well, of course I went to see Dr. Stewart, and I did tell you. He isn't the least bit anxious about me. He says I have some mild form of anemia, and that anemia can be caused by 100 different things.
I know that. Most of them very minor. Some of them not so minor. I just would like to know into which category you happen to fall.
Come on, let's go fall by the Scott penthouse.
I don't know why this is happening to me. After all the planning, the manipulating, the maneuvering, the sacrifice.
Sacrifice?
Yes, sacrifice. I think I enjoyed having millions of diapers and tons of baby food all over the house. My whole life's been centered around that little boy. He's barely given me so much as a smile as a reward.
Oh, the ungrateful brat.
You know what's happened to me. This is the end of everything.
Oh, no. What is this I hear? Come on, Raven, Alexander, Jameson, Swift, waving the surrender flag? I never thought I'd live to see the day.
Well, from the first moment I came to Monticello, that's all I wanted. That was my only goal. To get Jamie away from his daddy. To get him for myself, along with everything that went with him.
Yeah, Mama's millions.
Yes, Mama's millions. I've always said that was the reason. I've been very honest about that, haven't I?
Oh, only to me, darling. And only because I figured it out for myself. I'm amazed that your mother didn't find it out at once.
It's because of that Geraldine Saxon. It's because of her she called that solicitor in London. And now she's going to go back to London and change the whole will.
Oh, okay. Look at the bright side. You won't have to go on playing the loving mother anymore. You won't have to keep on worrying about losing that old custody trial. Matter of fact, losing could be the best thing that could happen to you.
That's true. It'd be ridiculous to keep Jamie now. I mean, he's no good to me until he's 21 years old.
So why don't you let Logan have the pleasure of his company? At least for the next 21 years.
Maybe you're right.
Okay, what do I get for being right?
I should just call the whole custody suit off. Wouldn't that just shock them all?
Just think of the wonderful renunciation scene you could play. You could go up to Logan and tell him how sorry you were that you had made him suffer so much. You could tell him that you want to make a noble gesture.
Oh, that would be a scream.
And you could also tell him that you might consider a small financial arrangement on the side.
Are you suggesting that I sell my own baby?
Oh, no. Not to Logan. He's got no money. Geraldine Saxon has.
How dare you make such a ridiculous suggestion? How much you suppose I could get?
He's real wild. He's solid flesh and blood, honest.
Yes, a few less pounds of flesh and blood, but a couple of weeks of home cooking ought to fix that.
There's so much I want to tell you, and there's so much we want to hear.
Well, we've been talking about a lot of things since I got back. One of them has been Emily Michaels. You know, since that business up at Playland Park, she had a complete breakdown.
Oh, no.
She's in the psychiatric ward of Monticello General. April and I want to have her transferred to that new wing. What is it?
The Hathaway Pavilion.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's the best facility in the state. She'll be well taken care of.
You know, Draper, that this breakdown may just be temporary. Emily's been through so much lately.
It's possible that she was always unstable.
But I'm not willing to assume that, Logan. Look, let's face it, she had a severe shock, worse than mine. When I got my memory back, I found my life. She lost everything.
Yeah, that's true. Emily lost her husband, and Draper found his wife. You know, though, I wouldn't be surprised, though, if you too felt, well, as if you lost something. It's only natural, isn't it? Excuse me, I'll get it. Hello. Oh, hello, Raven. Oh, is it really? Oh, hold on a second. It's for you.
Lucky me.
It appears as though Raven has tracked you down. Do you want to use that phone over there?
Okay, fine. I'll make this as brief as possible. Excuse me. What is it, Raven?
Logan, could you come have a drink with me tonight?
No.
Logan, please, come have a drink with me. If you do, there may not be a need for a custody case.
Well, I'm waiting. What's the punchline?
Logan, I've had a thought, and I think it might be the answer to all our problems.
Raven, you never offered anybody a deal in your whole life that wasn't 100% in your favor.
This deal is 50-50. You get what you want, I get what I want, and everybody's happy, including Jamie, okay?
I'm just not going to fall for any more
Logan,
of your tricks.
it's not going to hurt you just to talk to me.
Okay. All right. 1 hour at Armando's, all right?
Make it an hour and a half.
Okay, an hour and a half. See you then.
Okay.
Well, you sound as if you won the battle, but you look as if you lost the war.
Haven't I?
Doesn't he like your idea?
What if he doesn't?
Hey, you have to keep trying.
Oh, God. I can just hear him when I tell him the deal. He'll probably refuse to talk to Geraldine. Maybe I should call her myself.
Should tell him immediately.
Everything seemed so terrific a few minutes ago, and now this whole plan seems stupid. Why everything was going so right, and now it's all so wrong.
Don't worry, Raven. You always land on your feet.
I always used to. Now I don't know. No. There's only one solution to this problem. Mother has got to change her mind.
Sounds like Mission Impossible.
She's got to leave the will the way it is.
What can you do? It'd have to be something very drastic.
Why not? Why not something drastic?